I'm live.
Okay.
You can go up and down the hallway and back. That's it, though. Okay. No, Isaiah, you stay here. Okay, chapter 5, angles and parallel lines. You guys get to this. 5.1 is measuring, drawing, and estimating angles. What are angles? First of all, an angle is formed when two rays meet at a point called the vertex. There's the vertex right there. Here's two lines. Angles are usually measured in degrees using a protractor. This is a protractor. You've seen it before. Sure. You got to make sure when you're measuring with a protractor, if you're starting from this side, you'd measure with the inside numbers because this is where the 0 is. You say, oh, that's about 50 degrees. If you're measuring from this side, oh, that's not too straight. This angle is measured on the outside because you can see the 0 was there. Well, this is 60 degrees. Okay? Now, for a full circle, you got 360 degrees. So we say that the angle measures range from 0 to 360 degrees. Now, there's some vocabulary you're going to need. And I'm telling you these because you're going to be quizzed on some of these terms. It's going to be expected you know. So what is an acute angle? I'm going to use this symbol to represent the word angle. It's an angle. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees. I hope you all know that 90 degrees is the corner of a square, etc. Okay, so smaller than 90 degrees, 89 down to 0.1 degrees. Right angles. It's an angle equal to 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle between 90 and 180 degrees. Jot these down because you need them. Pause the video as you need. Straight angles is an angle equal to 180 degrees. That's a straight line, basically. A reflex angle is an angle between 180 degrees. Oh, I'm going to erase that and rewrite it. It's an angle between 180 degrees and 360 degrees. Now, just to go over these terms real quickly, you should know from a protractor, then you can see if you need that help. But an acute angle, you don't need a protractor for this, but I'm just emphasizing. It's an angle less than 90 degrees, so this would be an acute angle. A right angle is equal to 90 degrees, so what I'm drawing right now would be a right angle. And typically, we put a little box in the middle there to indicate that's a 90-degree angle. Obtuse angles. Well, if I started on the right, an obtuse angle is between 90 and 180. There you go. And a straight angle, that tells you that it's a straight line basically. But if the angle started here at 0 and went all the way over to here, that's a straight angle. Last, an example of a reflex angle. You start here and you go all the way around. Oh, I'll start again. You start here and went like this, well over 180 degrees, but less than 360. That was a reflex angle. So there's some quick examples there. If you wanted to jot them down, pause the video and draw them right beside, like here, reflex angle. You could do this. That's a reflex angle. So you can draw little diagrams there if it helps you. Identify the type of angle. Example. You should look at this. I'll give you a second to pause the video. Try these out. Okay, I'm assuming you've paused and you should be able to tell me acute, right, obtuse, straight, or reflex. So this first one, Because of that box in the center, A, that confirms what it looks like. It's a right angle. B, it looks like a straight line, so we're going to call that a straight angle. C, it looks like it's a little bit bigger than 90, so it's definitely obtuse because it's less than 180. Very small on D, so that's a cute little angle. It's like a cute little student angle. Okay. And E, since you were paying attention, what is it? Reflex. Yeah. You guys knew these terms from before, right? Now, good. It should be reviewed. Next. In many jobs, you have to draw angles or estimate their measure. To estimate the size of an angle, you can use referent angles. Reference is something you refer to, right? Which are angles that are easy to visualize. You can use these reference to determine the approximate size of angles. Now, the 90 is always easy to sort of approximate. Half of 90, though, is your 45-degree angle. The 30 and 60, well, just think. If 45 is there, 30 is a little less than that. That's 30. If 45 is about there, then 60 is this full one. 30s and 60s are used a lot, too. Because if you use multiples of 30, think of this one. 90 degrees, that's 3 times 30. 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees, all in one diagram. Just the reason why they choose 30 and 60. Okay? Use reference to estimate the size, and then use a protractor to check your answers. Now, you're going to need a protractor for that. I'll just go over a quick estimate the size of these. You can do that in your head. I'll give you a second here to jot down your estimates below. EST equals. Okay. I'm using the reference. Okay, I'm assuming now you've done your estimates. You probably paused the video if you did. I would estimate that this looks to be in the ballpark of 45 degrees. Maybe we'll measure and see. This is definitely smaller than 45. I think it's smaller than 30. So I'd estimate 25 degrees or something like that. See here, it's almost 180. Maybe 15 degrees. It wouldn't be 30 degrees up from it. So maybe about 165 degrees, something like that. Now, what is the actual measurements? You need a protractor. How do you use a protractor? You line up the protractor on the vertex. That's the 0 line there, this dot here, on the vertex of your actual measurement. When you do that, sometimes you have to extend with a pencil and a ruler, you have to extend the length of a line. So you take a ruler and you go longer, just slightly longer, so that it falls on somewhere where you can read the protractor. And take the protractor back. There. Okay, now my protractor isn't easy to see, it's fuzzy on the video. But trust me when I say I measured it on the paper, it's 52 degrees on things. Try that with B and C. You'll pause the video. Okay, and try. Okay, I'm going to assume you've already paused the video. When you measured this one, you have to line it up. Whether you line it up on this one or the other one. And when you measure that, you'll get about 20 degrees. Okay? This one should be 20 degrees. Likewise, when you measure this one, you line it up. Depending on how you line it up, you should get about 170 degrees. Okay? Now some more vocabulary. Know these words. Complement. Complementary angles. 2 angles that are measures that add up to 90. 45 plus 45 is 90. So those are 2 complementary angles. 60 and 30 are complementary angles. Supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180. 90 plus 90 is an easy set. But 179 and 1 degrees, those are two angles that measure up to 180. They're complements, or supplements, I'm sorry. Two angles with the same measures are congruent angles. So 45 and 45 is an example of congruent angles. Given each of the following angles, sketch and determine. Sketch means you don't necessarily have to draw it, but just have a good approximation. And determine the size of the complement and, if you can, the supplement. Sometimes you can have one and not the other. Sometimes you can have both. So 75 degrees here. Doing a quick sketch here. I'm going to first sketch 0 to 90 to 180. You know, that half of the protractor. Then 75, I'm thinking, is about there. This is 75 degrees. Then the other side of that is 180 minus 75. The complement, I guess I'm not skipping. I was going to go to the supplement. The complement, though, is 90 minus 75, so that's 15 degrees. So the complement is equal to 15 degrees. The supplement, on the other hand, is 180 minus 75. The supplement, let's put sup, equals 105 degrees. Make sure you have that little circle. I know my lighting is getting messy here. 103 degrees. Pause the video, give you a chance to do this. Okay, now 103 degrees should be a little more than 90. And take that off with blue. Okay, a little more than 90. That's 103. Now, if you have that, you can see it's already greater than 90. There's no way you could come up with a complement. Nothing will add up to give you positive numbers. It won't add up to give you 90 degrees. But you can come up with a supplement. The supplement right here is 180 minus 103. So you should be able to come up with 77 degrees. The supplement, 77 degrees. Pause and do 87 degrees. While you're at it, pause and do 300 degrees. We'll compare answers. Okay, I'm assuming you paused, you just started and you want to correct your answers. 87 degrees. Will be very close to 90. So that's 87. In this case, it's even hard to draw in here. But the complement is going to be equal to 3 degrees because that's what adds up to 90. In this case, the supplement, 180 minus 87 degrees, the supplementary angle, 93 degrees. Okay. Lastly, hopefully you paused and you did 300 degrees. If not, do it now. This time I'm going to draw the full set because it's greater than 180. The full set of axes. So 300 degrees should be about here. 60 degrees back from a full circle. That's 300 degrees. Since it exceeds both 90 degrees and 180 degrees, there's no such thing as a supplement or complement for that one. Okay. Last thing on this is a little problem solving thing here. In navigation, map making, people often use angles from the vertical or from the north. The angle measured in a clockwise direction, so circle to the right, from the line pointing north is referred to as the true bearing. Straight north is 0 degrees. Now this is different than a protractor because a protractor usually has 0 on the right or the left. So it's a protractor basically turned sideways. So what are we talking about here? write in the bearings for the compass, rows on the left. The rows refers to that diagram. So this is 0 degrees. Let's do the easy ones first, and then we'll go from there. If that's 0 degrees, I think you can see east would be 90 degrees. South would be 180 degrees. And west would be 270 degrees. Just to get you started. Now pause the video and work through the rest. I would advise you to do northeast and southeast, etc. first by cutting those measurements in half, and then do the north, northeast, east, northeast. Okay? Pause. Okay, you've done this. Now you're going to compare your answers. So we went around first, going 0 to 90. I suggested that you try doing the northeast, southeast, etc. first. Why? Because it's easier. I think that if 0 to 90 is the full, I guess, from north to east, northeast is half of that. It's 45 degrees. Basically, you're going to add 45 to each measurement. Southeast, well, 90 plus 45, or else you think of what's in the exact middle of 90 to 180. So you take 90, you add the 45 to that, and you get 135. Likewise, southwest, 180 plus the 45 degrees, it's in the middle. So 180 plus 45 degrees is 225. Lastly, the 270 degrees at west, so you're going northwest. You got to add it up and you get 315 degrees. Then you've got to do in between here. Half of 45, use a calculator. Hopefully you did. 22.5, 22 and a half degrees. You're going to be adding 22 and a half degrees then for every other one. So 22 and a half degrees added on to 45. 90 plus 22 and a half. 135 plus 22 and a half. 180 plus 22 and a half. Always add 22 and a half to get the next measurement. I'll just go around the circle and write in what the answer should be. So 45 plus 22.5 is 67 and a half. 90 plus 22.5 is 112. Plus 22.5 there, you get 157 and a half. 22.5, we get 202.5. Once again, it's repetitive, 247, 45. Oh, can't talk at the same time. Likewise, 292. Oh, I didn't realize I had to reset my pen here. Undid all my work. There you go. You've gone around the horn, around the compass rose, I guess. Now, the last thing, if a boat is traveling 25 degrees south of straight east, what is its true bearing? So that means using this system. Now, you'll notice 25 degrees south doesn't fall straight on one of these compass markings. Maybe you won't notice, but trust me, you don't. So I'm going to draw a simple compass. Stick compass. I'm going 0, 90, 180. I don't care about the others because I'm not on that side. So I'm going 25 degrees south of straight east, east being 90 degrees. So that's 25 degrees. I've got to add that 25 to 90 to find my true bearing. Hi there. Yeah. So 90 plus 25 is 150 miles. That's the true bearing for that particular measure. Now try these assignment questions. Sketch and identify. You can probably identify before you even sketch. Have a sketch. Cubes, right, obtuse, straight, or reflex. Identify and then sketch them in. Little diagrams are just fine. They fit on that page. Then estimate using reference, was it 60, 30, 45, 90, etc. Give good ballpark ones. Okay. Then, 3. Renata cuts a rectangular tile diagonally. One of the angles formed is 65 degrees. What's the size of the other? I would expect you to have, first of all, drawn a rectangle first and imagine this. Which one would be the 65? And then figure out what the other angle is. I'm not going to say too much. Do you know what the corner of a rectangle should be? Now, Pete is laying a regular shaped paving stones. He needs to find one to fit in position A. Approximately. What size of angle will it have? Approximate this angle here. You know it's bigger than something, so give me a good approximation. Write your answers out. We're going to do these ones for marks. On the map, what is the bearing from the following points? So basically, point A to B, for example. What is the shadow I couldn't see. What is the bearing from there to there? Well, 0 is straight north, right? So this is 0. So this will be less than 180. Use a compass and figure it out. And then from B to C, this is 0 going up. Oh. What is it? It's going to be greater than 180 from B to C. You can extend those lines so they're easier to measure with a protractor. That was B to C. The complement of an angle is 58 degrees. Do some figuring from there. And do number 8. You should be great. Okay, I'll pause.